Hello and welcome to my review of the Adeptus Mechanicus Skitarii Vanguard. This box set will cost you £23.50. You can alternatively make a unit of 10 Skitarii Rangers if you so wish. My updated 8th edition review for that unit is coming soon, probably within the next week, so stay tuned to the channel for that. Instead of paying £23.50 for these 10 models, you can get them in the Adeptus Mechanicus Start Collecting box set, which is £50. Strongly recommend you do that, even if you're after these Vanguard or Rangers and the Onega Dune Crawler, because the Onega is £40 anyway, so you're getting these guys for a tenner, put it that way. These Vanguard here, I got in the Forgebane box set, which is £95 I think. So you could look at getting all of the other contents in there for about £70, which is definitely worth it. So before the Skitarii Rangers review comes out in a week or so, I thought I'd just cover Skitarii Vanguard, because this is actually my first set built as Vanguard. Even though I've had 3 sets of these before, I turned 20 of them into Skitarii to protect my Warlord Titan and Titan Legion, and the other 10 are actually Rangers, which I'll show you in the size comparison. So how did I equip these guys? Well, this is my Alpha, a little bit different compared to other factions, like Necrons for instance. Mechanicus, they have 10 in the unit size typically, but they usually have an Alpha, which is slightly better than the rest of them. This guy, I've equipped him with a power sword and an arc pistol. Probably not the best weapon loadout to go for, but my Ranger one is equipped with a radium pistol, I think, or phosphor pistol, and an arc maul. Arc maul definitely bumps up the strength. But yeah, this is the Alpha. What I will say is all of these models you'll see quite a bit of dust on, because they do have some fiddly mould lines everywhere. Best off removing the mould lines off the legs, and then gluing the front armour and the cape together, waiting for that to dry, or doing other things, and then just filing that seam down, because it can be noticeable if you don't pay it as much attention. I think this is an Omnispecs, I want to say. All of these Vanguard have slightly different heads than the Rangers, or helmets, sorry, and they have these radium carbines, which are kind of like radiation kind of weapons. So that's that one, and then I've got 2 special weapons in here. I could have picked another special weapon called the Transuranic Arquebus, but again, my Rangers have that. So these guys, so you've got an arc rifle there and a plasma caliber, I want to say. So yeah, these are the special weapons. It's really odd though that the special weapons sort of cost more than the units themselves, but there you go. Another thing that you may have noticed is that these models, the Skitarii, are on the small 25mm bases, compared to your now newer sort of 32mm bases, if that helps. Yeah, as you can see, I've put them in a variety of poses, some of them running, looking where they're going, some of them not looking where they're going, some of them meleeing maybe, yeah, all kinds. Some of them aiming. Do they really need to aim? Probably, but yeah. So a selection of poses there. They look pretty cool, definitely fit with the Mechanicus theme. One thing I don't like as much about them, which is a trade-off for the cool cloaks, is that you can only put their sort of hips and torsos in one pose. Their arms quite customizable in a way. You can definitely raise or lower the shoulders, and the heads obviously you can, but it's just the legs and the cloaks, and that's one thing you're going to get with a box set of 10 miniatures, is that the cloaks on these only go with certain legs. There may be ways to get around that, but if you've got 20 or 30 of these, it really depends on where and how you position the weapons, so that it doesn't look like you're getting replicas. But then again, it's Skitarii and Adeptus Mechanicus. There are replications all over the place in this force. Okay, let me just compare it to another model in the Mechanicus range, which is the Tech Priest Dominus. Tech Priest Dominus definitely stands much higher than the rest of the Skitarii. I've just moved the camera down just to show you that size comparison. Yeah, if anything, he's probably, well, he's not too Skitarii tall, but he's definitely a good foot or two higher than the rest of them. A couple of other comparisons would be the Cataphron Destroyers. Yeah, so Cataphron Destroyers are much bigger, much more of a sort of tank unit. I've got a Skitarii here, similar, pretty much the same size as the Skitarii, but they're a work in progress. And then you've just got normal sort of Tech Priest. Even Tech Priest, you know, the Imperial Guard kind of Tech Priest is taller than these Skitarii. So let me just show you them compared to some Necrons, because obviously you get them in the set. Necrons are bigger, sort of taller skeletons, as it were, than the Skitarii. If you just look just how much bigger they are huge compared to the Vanguard. And then yeah, if you put a Wraith in there, Wraith is way bigger than the Skitarii. So yeah, quite a tough task for the Skitarii to overcome, but luckily in the Forgebane kit they give you those Armiger Warglaives to take on the rest of the Necron forces. Comparing them to Space Marines, the normal Space Marine is slightly taller than one of these Skitarii, and then a Primaris, yeah, absolutely dwarfs these Skitarii, which is great. So I hope all those size comparisons help. They're certainly one of the smaller factions if you don't take into account all of their knights and things, or even their destroyers and breachers, which are you know, troop choices. But I think they're well proportioned. I think they are the size they're supposed to be. What we'll do now is just show you all of the spare parts that you get with the Skitarii Vanguard. So if you build them like I have here, I haven't used any other spare parts. These are all the extra parts that you get. You get quite a lot. You get this nice oval base, which you would normally have the Transuronic Arquebus on, which is this huge kind of anti-vehicle, anti-tank rifle, almost as long as a base. It is actually taller than a Primaris Space Marine 2. Yeah, this huge rifle, and then you have all the other galvanic rifles that the Rangers normally have. You have a taser goad here, you have all of the Ranger heads, these kind of cloaked kind of sand people type heads, I want to call them, if you're familiar with that. You have a couple of radium carbines still left, and you now have an arc maul too, and a couple of pistols. I think there's a phosphor pistol somewhere around here. Yeah, I haven't gone blind, it's right here, look. So you have that one as well. So yeah, you get a nice, decent number of spare parts. So if you needed heads for anything at all, you get a couple of the rifles that aren't connected, like this one. Maybe if you wanted to make a weapon rack or something, or a bit of a diorama with one of the rifles propped up, that's really cool. I think you get a radium carbine in the same vein too, so yeah, you could have like a little weapon rack forming maybe. So yeah, and you also get another 25mm base too. So they're all the spare parts. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I'll talk to you about all of their rules. You'll find the rules for the Skitarii Vanguard in your brand new 8th edition Adeptus Mechanicus Codex, which came out last year, towards the sort of end of last year. These are troop choices, much like the Rangers and the Cataphron Breachers and Destroyers. This is a thing with Mechanicus. You can go for kind of like a horde army with a lot of Rangers and Vanguard who will chip away at the enemy, or you can go for, you know, fewer models like the Breachers and Destroyers which do have a better toughness and quite possibly better weapons and melee, but they can get bogged down quite easily. So the Vanguard are the same power points cost as the Rangers, power points cost over 4. Points per model, they're 1 point more than Rangers though, so that's important to note. The unit contains 1 Vanguard Alpha and 4 Skitarii Vanguard. It can include up to 5 additional Vanguard, and each model is armed with a radium carbine. So you can't have 20 in a unit or anything like that. The maximum is 10. I would have preferred if they could have 20 in a unit. That would be a bit better, but there you go. So their stat line is a movement 6 inches, weapon skill 4+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 3, toughness 3, wounds 1, attacks 1, leadership is only 6, and the save is 4+. That is exactly the same as the Rangers, and the Vanguard Alpha has the same stat line, except he's got 2 attacks and a leadership of 7. Again, that's exactly the same as the Ranger Alpha stat line. So their weapons, how do they compare to the Rangers? Well, the Rangers have a 30-inch rapid fire 1 strength 4 weapon, whereas these guys a bit more up close and personal and more shots. The range of their weapons is 18 inches, so 12 inches less, but they are assault 3. Their strength is only 3, which is less than the galvanic rifle, but AP is 0 and damage is 1. However, each time you make a wound roll of a 6+ for the weapon, that hit inflicts 2 damage instead of 1. You know, you might get 1 or 2 that get 6s, so that's a nice little bonus for more damage. The big downside though for these weapons is their strength 3. Not the best. So, war gear options. Up to 2 Skitarii Vanguard may replace their radium carbines with 1 item from the special weapons list. If the unit numbers 10 models, 1 additional Skitarii Vanguard may replace their radium carbine with 1 item from the special weapons list. So you can basically, so if you've got 10 of them, basically have 3 with special weapons. So this is what I was going back to in terms of having the transuranic arquebus. 1 Vanguard may also have an enhanced data tether or an omnispecs, which mine's got, and then the Alpha may take 1 item from the melee weapons list and may replace their radium carbine with 1 item from the pistols list. So you don't have to replace that radium carbine. You can still keep him with a radium carbine, but for me, I've equipped mine with an arc pistol, which is a range 12-inch weapon. It's strength 6, its AP is -1, damage 1, but when attacking a vehicle, the weapon has damage of D3. So that's pretty good. You've got a good chance there of getting damage 2 or more. Abilities. So they have Canticles of the Omnissiah, which I think I've explained in my Tech Priest Dominus review. You can pick one, or you can have one chosen for you at random, and it just buffs up that unit. Bionics. All models in the unit have a 6+ invulnerable save. So we've got 4+ normal, 6+ invulnerable. Rad saturation. Reduce the toughness of enemy units other than vehicles by 1 whilst they are within 1 inch of any Skitarii Vanguard units. That's why you're paying your extra points there. Not for the radium carbines with more shots, it's this rad saturation. The Rangers don't have rad saturation, which I've always thought is a bit odd anyway. But even if you use this unit as a cheap unit to try and get to a high toughness vehicle or creature quickly, you're reducing the toughness by 1. That's immense. If something's toughness 6, you've got toughness 5, toughness 4, you've got toughness 3. That's really good and really handy for against like Death Guard or Necrons or Space Marines even, or a few Tyranids. Omnispecs. Enemy units do not receive the benefit to their saving throws for being in cover against attacks made by a unit that includes a model with an Omnispecs. That's good, so again, that's an optional thing you can have. Enhanced data tether. You can reroll failed morale tests for a unit that includes a model with an enhanced data tether. Again, that's another optional thing. So the keywords: Imperium, Adeptus Mechanicus, Skitarii, in brackets Forge World, Infantry and Skitarii Vanguard. I just want to touch on what I said earlier about special weapons. 2 of them can have either an arc rifle, plasma caliber or transuranic arquebus, but if there's 10 you can have a 3rd special weapon, so that's pretty good. Pistol weapons for the Alpha You can have an arc pistol, a phosphor blast pistol and a radium pistol, and melee weapons you can choose an arc maul, a power sword or a taser goad. Not taser toad, but a taser goad. So this squad base points will cost you 90 points. Then you've got to add the plasma caliber, which is whopping 14 points, worth more than the model that has the weapon. The arc rifle though is only 4 points, so that's 18. The Omnispecs is 7, so that's 25. Power sword is 4, so that's 29, and the arc pistol is 3, so that's 32. So you're paying an extra 32 points there on top of the 90. So this unit is going to cost you 122 points. Not too bad for a unit that has a 4+ normal, a 3+ ballistic skill, which is very good for a troop choice, and a 6+ invulnerable. Yeah, they don't have the best strength or toughness or number of attacks or good leadership, but they will fulfill a specific role in the army. They're not the fastest at 6 inches, but as soon as they get in range, their effective range is 24 inches, they can lay down a lot of fire and multiple damages of fire with your 6s. It's not a high strength fire though, but their Brad saturation definitely come in handy with armies that have higher toughness units. Now, to put it in perspective, Cataphon destroyers without any of the weapons are 105 points, and that's only for 3 of them, which is 6 wounds. In this case, you've technically got 10 wounds than destroyers, but they do have a better toughness, but they have the same save, 4+ and a 6+. But the destroyers have the potential of dishing out so much more damage from a longer range, and the breachers, a similar case, but are more melee focused in that regard. So yes, this unit may not be able to dish out a huge amount of damage, but they are going to reduce the toughness of enemy units. They will need support from a tech priest or using the canticles of the Omnissiah. So in summary, I think they're a good little troop choice for Adeptus Mechanicus. They're not the best at dealing out damage. They have a good survivability, and they can dish out a lot of shots, but they are a bit fragile in terms of their toughness, and they're going to be quite weak in close combat too. So like the Rangers, you've just got to be super careful where you deploy them, and try not to place them anywhere where they can get shot to pieces or gobbled up. Anyway, what do you guys think of the Skitarii Vanguard? Be great to hear your thoughts below. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.